Hello, Basil.
Hello, mate. How are you?
I don't know. Have we started this thing? I don't know. I don't want to waste anything.
It looks like a very agreeable day there in the south of France.
It's it's quite bright. We've had a few days of rain, and it's bright, a bit chilly, but probably not as chilly as where you are.
I can see you've got your fleece on. Yes, it's
the Australian one.
Yeah. Do you know something? I had put mine on as well, and then I looked and there's a fucking curry stain on it. What's that you've got?
It's coffee.
Oh, I've got a glass of Christmas port.
It's a bit early for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock. It's 11 o'clock in the morning on a cold, miserable, wet Yorkshire Monday morning. So what else am I going to do? Cheers. What are you doing for Christmas?
Nothing. You mean eating-wise? I mean, not doing-wise. Doing fuck all.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
No, I'll have a bit of lobster on Christmas Eve. No plans for Christmas Day, actually. None whatsoever. Oh, no, that's a fib. We're being invited by another bubble. I think that's what you call it, a bubble.
Oh, okay.
Up the road. That's it. Just 4 of us.
Okay. Well, we're going to be 2 of us because I can't go to the northeast to visit Mum. I can't see my kids. Although I was toying with the idea.
Just.
Hello. Obviously, massively interested in what I was saying there. I may well ride to the northeast on my bike and visit me mum and kids standing outside the window doing this, which is
really,
yeah.
You still do that?
Well, as long as I don't go near anyone. I'm probably not. It's probably bending the rules a little bit, but who knows what the fucking rules are? Who knows what the rules are?
Well, the problem goes back to way back when that twat Cummings discredited the whole policy. I mean, why should people follow the advice of people who don't follow it themselves?
Yeah.
And the inherent hypocrisy there, I think, just discredited the whole thing. What they should have done is, because he was seen to be screwing up their system, should have been out on his ear then.
I think that I'm afraid, and this is probably where I'm going to get a lot of stick, but I don't care. I'm afraid that people who say they're not going to get vaccinated because it's a conspiracy and there are microchips in the vaccine, and it's public duty to get vaccinated. I'm sorry, it's for the good of everyone. Basically, that's it in a nutshell.
Well, an awful lot of conspiracy theories about this.
Of course there are, and they're all fucking rubbish. Every single one of them. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic for people. I don't understand. I can't understand that people actually. I mean, that's the stuff of Hollywood movies. Do people really think like that? And then you see protests and banners, don't take away my freedom and all. Well, all right then. You know, if you don't get vaccinated, you don't get your little laminated card, or you don't get the proof that you've been vaccinated, you just don't get to go anywhere.
It does raise another, an important fundamental point, is that everyone assumes that freedom is a given. So, they take it for granted, they take it for granted. Yeah. These freedoms have been seriously hard won. And we owe respect to all those who have actually fought for those freedoms. And it shouldn't be a given, it shouldn't be a sense of entitlement.
Did you hear about the dyslexic devil worshipper who sold his soul to Santa? Oh, if that's all I'm going to get out of you, JJ, I'm not telling anymore. Like, barely a smile there.
That's not true. I'm laughing on the inside.
Oh, that's one of mine. I've been thinking about this one. I mean, how long's a piece of string? How many people would you love to meet? Change things, talk to people, ask them why, various things. But ultimately, I think with all of the shit that's gone on in this world of ours in the last 9 months, I'd probably just like to meet Oliver Hardy and have a jolly good laugh about things. So Oliver Hardy was always my favourite out of the two of them. And I would just love to sit and
he was a bit of a gambler, wasn't he?
Gambler, horse racing, had about 4 wives, 3-4 wives. Loved to flutter, but was an incredibly intelligent and very, very funny man. Smoke a big fat cigar, even though I don't smoke, and drink a lot of brandy.
Alexander the Great?
Yeah.
He was a bit of a drinker. So, I mean, he killed one of his best companions in a drunken brawl. And he was only, 32 when he died. So, and he'd conquered most of the known world. So, yeah, I think he'd be quite a good party man to have dinner with.
No, there will sometimes be something that, depending on where we are, a particular place, or events that might have happened, where we sometimes feel that we need to maybe say something, I don't know, and so me and JJ will maybe talk about it for a minute, 30 seconds before we go on. But as regards the banter with the audience and the banter with each other, I think as soon as you start rehearsing it, it's fake and people can tell. So
a number of times I've seen a band say the same thing at the same point, just before the same song, and that's not.
Yeah, I may have been guilty of that on a handful of occasions, but considering I've done kicking the arse off 1,000 gigs with the Stranglers now, I don't think I've repeated myself too many times. As soon as you start rehearsing stuff, it's fake, basically, and the audience can tell. And I'll drink to that. Over to my learned colleague.
Too young for that. Far too young to be writing an autobiography. Although I have noticed that a few people in their late 20s have done so.
You've been asked a couple of times, though, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. About 4 years ago, I was asked, and I sort of started a process with what they call a ghostwriter. You know, so it's a journalist who would you sit down with and talk.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember you talking about that.
I didn't like the angle they were taking. It was like they would thought, you know, I'm first of all primarily a thug, and then anything else was by the by. I didn't like that. And funnily enough, there's a French guy who's just got a publishing deal to do an autobiography of mine. It happened about 2 weeks ago.
Okay. So an autobiography or a biography?
Well, it's a biography because I'm not going to write it. I thought I might do it myself, but then I'm not very interesting. I've had a very quiet life. I haven't done much with my life, my time on this planet. So we'll just invent it.
This there's something dripping out. There's something dripping out the camera. There's something dripping out the camera down this end, and it's brown and smelly.
I distinctly remember him coming into the studio. It was TW Studios, and he promptly rolled him. He took out a little sort of tin and promptly rolled himself a joint. That was we were taken aback. We only thought that people under the age of 25 smoked, but anyway, we were wrong. He did a great job, and he didn't mind taking the piss out of himself because the lyrics to Old Codger were a bit about him, around him anyway. Then there was the session involved Lou Lewis, and he was completely off his face as well, and just fell through the door into the studio. That was great fun. Then met George a few other times. He was such a mine of information. We had lunch with him a few times in London. He was a lovely bloke.
Oh well, Jet would be Orson Welles. I mean, there's no doubt about that. You get Orson Welles to play Jet. Playing Dave would require some serious character study. So that probably would have been somebody like De Niro, or Dave in his younger days when he was incredibly good looking, maybe Johnny Depp. Me, it would obviously have to be Harrison Ford. I mean, look at me, you know, either Harrison Ford or Shirley MacLaine.
Shirley MacLaine. She was gorgeous.
In her younger days, Shirley MacLaine, unbeatable.
What, when she's Princess, whatever it is, in 80 around the world in 80 days, or
yeah, she's just absolutely gorgeous. Who would play you? Who would play you then? We'll have to get someone that's great at pouting, someone that can really.
Yeah, there aren't many very great pouters, to be honest.
In the men's league.
I don't know.
I was thinking maybe James Coburn, maybe.
Or Charles Bronson.
Yeah. Okay, mother suckers.
Mother duckers.
This is going to my head. This is brilliant. I'm liking this. I had a whole day planned, you know, Jay. I had loads of things to do today. Exercise. I was going to cook. I was going to paint the spare room. And now I'm just going to get pissed.
Your nose has grown by about 3 inches. Just
no, that's not my nose.
Exercise. Yeah.
I'll have you know that I walk around my park, because it's my park, out there every day. Apart from Saturdays and Sundays when I don't get out of bed.
That's a good one. We normally try to think up as many bands that we are aware of. Sometimes someone we're not aware of comes into the frame. I think it's a combination of what's suggested by the band and the management, and even the agent. They'll say, look, there's such and such a band is available. Are you interested? and most of the time they're bands of a certain vintage. Although we haven't got a hard and fast rule about that. If there was an interesting, really up and coming young band, we'd consider them too, which we have done in the past. We've had so many interesting supports. My favourite one is still Starbase. What is it?
109.
109. They're just fantastic.
You must have read my mind. Oh, that's easy.
Well, the most
for me.
memorable one for me is because I've got the scar here from it. Although I think the guy who threw it and who I saw throwing it probably came off.
When was that?
A permanent reminder here, and it was just a few weeks before we did the photo session for RatChat, so you can see it pretty in its rawness. And I think accentuated by a bit of makeup as well, to be honest.
I got hit with a full pint at the picture drome or the video drome in Holmfirth. Paul was still in the band. I think it was about 2005. And it came, whoever did it, I mean, props to whoever threw it, because it came right the way from the back. I saw it coming, couldn't get out the way, and it stayed level like that. It didn't do this, nothing came out of it. So when it hit me, it was practically full. Hit me in the chest, exploded up into my face. And then at the end of the gig, I don't know if you remember.
But when you smashed your guitar up?
I took my Telecaster off and threw it 40 feet across the stage and smashed the headstock off.
If I knew that, I would be part of it.
Good answer. We do plan to do a big European tour, and circumstances dictate when that will be. We have some dates that are penciled, and some that are confirmed. And as to whether we'll be allowed to do them or not, is in the lap of the gods. Well, it'll be shorter if I do first, because I haven't had half as much experience as you've had. And I mean that with all due respect, of course. Actually, my favourite motorcycle that I've owned is the one I've got now, which is a Triumph Tiger Explorer. I've had it since it was new. It's a 2016. It's a 1200 cc touring machine. It is a very heavy, big bike, and on the 2 occasions that I've dropped it, it's a 2-man lift. You can't lift it by yourself. So I have toyed with the idea of getting a lighter one, but I'm in love with the bike I've got.
Well, I've had so many bikes.
Yeah.
I started riding 50 years ago, so I can't believe it's that long, but I've had so many bikes. I've got 2 Triumphs at the moment. I've got an RS Sprint with a belly pan from 2004, which is 130 horsepower, and it's a brute of a machine, and I won't get rid of that. I've also got a Thruxton R, which is only 3 years old. It looks old and retro and cafe racer-ish, but it's not. It's all modern spec. That's really enjoyable around the mountains and everything. But I've had so many. I'm getting a bit nostalgic for one bike I had when I was a student up in Yorkshire, which is a BSA A65 Thunderbolt, the US style with the green and sort of grey tank. I'm thinking, I've been looking at those. There are a few up for sale. I'm tempted, but maybe that's just nostalgia. Obviously, it's nostalgia.
Nothing wrong with that, though. Nothing wrong with
No, it's not. Well, no, it's not. Of course not. And it reminds you of times, good times.
Yeah.
Trying to get laid at Leeds University, unsuccessfully, very unsuccessfully.
Well, I'd like to raise a glass, but unfortunately it's empty, so I'll just say, here's
I
hoping
never liked you. I never liked you.
You're all a bunch of twats, and I think everybody's weird. Basically, all I can say is he's hoping next year is better than this one. To all of you and all our loved ones, friends, families across the world, and especially to you, mon ami. Have a good one, whatever you do.
Yeah, you buddy too.
Merry
Missing
Christmas.
you guys a lot. I'll raise a glass to all those who can raise a glass, and yeah, well, all of you stay safe. We'll see you next year.
Lots of love, man.
You too, mate.